will lead today's webinar. I also would like to inform you that we have interpretation. As you can see down there, there's the interpretation channel. When you put original, you can hear any voice. If you go into the English channel, you will hear English interpretation. And if you go into German, you can hear Georgian. So thanks a lot to all of you for your participation. Please.
Thank you, Konstantin, for this wonderful welcome. Gamar Joba, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you virtually. We wish we could be there in person, but this is the best we can do today. But it's a pleasure to have this opportunity to present to you today the EaP Trade Help Desk, which is available in Georgian, and we hope will be a tool that can make it easier to identify and compare opportunities across EaP countries, but also with the European Union markets. My name is Anna Jankowska. I am a market analyst at the International Trade Center. I've been working for the last 12 years in trade research and trade information. And I'm very happy to be here also today with my colleague, Adelia. Adelia, can you please introduce yourself?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Adelia, and I'm working at ITC along with Anya on capacity building, and I'm also engaged with the project communication and data collection activities. So you might have already been in touch with me asking you to help us seek some data. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you so much for joining us. And just to, before we get started, I also wanted to let everybody know that you can type your questions in chat anytime of the webinar in English or in Georgian. We have Kote, who is here, who has kindly agreed to help us a little bit on that side. Or we will also have a question and answer session planned for the end of the webinar, so don't hesitate. Then you can also ask your questions in person. And I see Vakhtang has his hand up. I wonder if he has a question already.
Before we give the floor or question to Vakhtang, I would like to ask all our friends and colleagues from respective organizations if it's possible to write the name of your company, somehow to give us clear identification which organization you are presenting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Vakhtang, did you want to take the floor for a moment?
Yes, I'm here. I will write down. I'm technical director of Georgian State Electric System.
Wonderful. Thank you. Welcome. And that's an excellent idea. If everybody could introduce themselves in the chat so we know who we're speaking with, that would be amazing. Just to give you a quick overview, we're going to give you a brief introduction of the type of information that we have in the portal. And then Adelia is going to walk us through an actual navigation of the portal. And we will also ask you to do a search just to see if everything works correctly and if you have any questions. So we hope that this will be an interactive and engaging session. And as Adelia said, at any time, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to put them in the chat box as well. Konstantin is here with us to help answer all of your questions. And if there's any we can't answer today, then we will definitely get back to you. So if you'll bear with me, I will just share my screen. Are you able to see my screen? Excellent. So I wanted to begin and just say that the reason that we think that we wanted to organize this webinar, and we thought this was an important time to talk about exploring different trade opportunities and being aware of different trade opportunities, is that the World Economic Outlook came out from the IMF, and there is definitely a projection of growth slowing down across regions, definitely this year and possibly for the coming years. And that this means that we do need to be aware of different markets and certainly thinking about diversification across different markets to really be as resilient as we can be. And obviously the biggest reason for this is the invasion, the war in Ukraine, and the economic fallout that's happening. According to the World Bank statistics that I read, they estimated that Georgian GDP growth will be down to 2.5% this year, down from the 5.5 that was estimated at the beginning of the year. The Ukrainian GDP is expected to fall by at least 45%. So clearly, with 20% of Georgian exports going to Ukraine and Russia, there's reason to consider new opportunities and to think about how we adjust to these differing and challenging conditions in the marketplace. And related to this, there's still a lot of logistical disruptions, supply chain disruptions. There's shipping costs have really escalated, especially with the inflation and the rising fuel prices. And all of this is having an impact on Georgian businesses. So it's time to stop and reflect a little bit and to at least be conscious of where the opportunities are for our products across different markets and to evaluate how appealing those opportunities are. Looking at Georgian exports, I just did a quick comparison of Georgian exports in April 2022 versus the last year, 2021. And definitely that was also a strange year with the recovery from the pandemic, but we can already see that there are like clear trends and clear differences that are emerging. Obviously with fertilizer disruption and fertilizer prices skyrocketing, we can already see that there was a 546% increase year on year in the exports of fertilizer, but this is mostly driven by the price effect. And we can also see that there's been a decrease in beverages, spirits, and vinegar in the alcohol products year on year. So already we see differences across sectors, and we see also an increase in the sale of citrus fruits and also plastic. So there are different sectors that are more appealing, and there's others that are suffering at the moment. When we look at the same information, but looking by partner country rather than by product, we can see that the year-on-year exports to China have decreased. There's been a slight decrease to Russia, but there's been a dramatic increase actually in exports to Peru, as well as increases to Bulgaria, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. So across also other European and EU markets. So there's also reason to be hopeful that there are many different opportunities that are still unexploited for Georgian exporters. So how can Georgian businesses adapt their strategies and really take advantage of all of these differing opportunities that are coming about? And what we think is really important is really staying informed about these opportunities. So seeking out the information and making sure that you are able to compare the opportunities across different markets. And the second thing that we think is especially important is diversifying market risks. What we saw during the pandemic was that the companies that were active in multiple markets were much more likely to survive the pandemic and to not go bankrupt than companies that were only serving one traditional market or only their domestic market. So I think in these times where resilience matters and where things are still changing, it's really important to diversify your market risks and be aware of different opportunities. So what we're going to do today with you is to talk about how it is that we evaluate economic attractiveness, talk a little bit about export potential and how we determine where opportunities might be, and then also take a really close look at some of the market requirements and some of the detailed regulations that are relevant when we're doing business in other countries. So when we're talking about how is it that we can see if a market is economically attractive, we're going to focus on a few different areas. We're going to look at market size. Obviously, larger markets have more market niches and can serve more exporters. So a big market isn't always the best market, but it's certainly one factor that's worth considering because there will be more room for different exporters in that market. Well, we're also interested in the evolution of demand. How has demand grown over the years? Does it continue to grow? Is this a dynamic market? What's going on in this market? And what do we hope to expect? And in terms of expectations, we're especially interested in export potential. So export potential is a forecast 5 years into the future, looking at the benchmark level of expected trade, taking into account demand, taking into account supply, taking into account GDP growth, all of the quantifiable factors that we can evaluate to give us a benchmark value of expected trade, to think about, to be able to identify and compare those opportunities at the product and market level. So as I was mentioning, export potential is this forecast 5 years into the future, and it takes into account the tariffs, it takes into account the distances, it takes into account GDP growth, Georgian market shares for the products, as well as the strength of the trade relationship with the destination market. So this is our benchmark value of, for instance, how much wine we believe Georgia could export to Poland in the next 5 years. So it will give us a dollar value of expected trade. And we will then compare that with actual exports to see what the room for growth is in that left for that product and in that market. In addition, another factor that we believe is really important is how much will it cost to enter a market. So if we look, for instance, at bottled water exported to Azerbaijan, the ad valorem equivalent, the tariff is actually $0.3 per liter. So the most favored nation, like what every WTO member would pay, would be an ad valorem equivalent of 66%. Whereas for Georgian exporters, the tariff is 0%. But that's only if it's able to meet the rule of origin, and the rule of origin is change in tariff heading. So it does require some transformation. So these factors will also be important in helping us understand what is our cost of doing business? Can we be competitive and economically attractive as a supplier to a market? And this is information that we will also be interested in looking at. But when you talk to exporters, it's usually not tariffs that are the most challenging aspect for them. What's usually the most challenging aspect is the different regulatory requirements across markets and how they differ dramatically. So for instance, for bottled water, there are 5 regulatory requirements to export to Azerbaijan. There are 35 measures to export water to Germany, and there are 72 measures that are relevant for entering the Chinese market. So it's not to say that those 5 regulatory measures in Azerbaijan wouldn't necessarily be the strictest, but just the sheer difference and diversity of these regulations and the difficulty of meeting all of them at the same time can be a real burden for exporters, and it's something that they need to be aware of. So we've come to, what we've done now is we've brought together this information that we believe to be some of the crucial elements for helping a business identify and compare opportunities across EaP countries and in the EU. And we've put it in one help desk and made it available in Georgian, so that we hope it will be a single entry point for trade intelligence for Georgian firms. I now turn over to Adelia, who will talk to us a little bit more about the platform.
Thank you, Anya. Let me just share my screen. All right, can you see my screen? Yes. Great. All right, as Anya explained, we have gathered all this trade intelligence for you and gathered it in one platform. As you can see here, we source it from ITC tools like Trade Map, Market Access Map, Export Potential Map, Sustainability Map, and EaPing, the Trade Obstacle Alert Mechanism. We have some data coming from the WTO and also from our respective in-country focal points and institutions that we're partners with. This all comes together in the Eastern Partnership Trade Help Desk. Now let us dig a little bit deeper in the 3 main modules. So I'm going to walk you through that. So what is the content? The Eastern Area Partnership Trade Help Desk consists of 3 main modules. First is the regional opportunities, or identify opportunities, as we call it. It provides a strategic overview of intra and extra regional opportunities that you can see. And of course, I will show it to you in a small demo shortly after this. And what information you can see there is information on market shares, on export potential, something that you want to look at first when you try to identify a new market, to see if it is attractive, if there's any export potential at all, to see the top importers and growing markets, some information on the value chains, etc. Then you have market information module, where you can find a bit more in detail information on the market access conditions, the trade procedures, key partners, chat tariffs, taxes, and NTM measures sometimes that can be really impeding in starting exporting into a new country. Sometimes they can be much more burdensome than the tariffs and taxes themselves. Then you can see some regulatory changes, information on the rules of origin, and we also have links to dig a little bit deeper if you want to know a bit more about the rules of origin. We have links to our other respective ITC tools, so you will not be lost there. It's all in the portal. And then some information on the voluntary standards and the step-by-step procedures that Anya will cover also a little bit later. It is something that we have currently in developing. And information on the financial institutions and trade on TPOs as well. And then there is a help center. It is a module that is also currently actively being developed and populated with the help of our partners in our EaP countries. In the help center, you can browse resource materials, ask questions, or learn more in the knowledge database. Here we have an FAQ, frequently asked questions, and you can find also information on the HS codes. If you don't know the HS codes that belongs to the specific product that you are exporting, here you can do a quick search. And so there will be an inquiry system and a contact network that we're currently actively working on. So let us dig a little bit deeper and see in practice with an example of peaches. We will be looking at export of peaches with the HS code of 080930 from Georgia to Armenia. And we will, let me just go on the portal, and then I will also let you practice a little bit along the way. So go to eaptradehelpdesk.org/en. You don't have to click anywhere. It is just a demo. So as you can see on the main page, you see our 3 modules: identify opportunities, and here it explains a little bit what it is all about, and the market information and the help center. Also above, you see the login, and you will need to register in our system that is universal across all the tools at ITC to access more in detail company information. So information about the importing companies in the market that you're interested in, or you can also log in to be able to submit an inquiry, a question to our help center network. And then you can also choose a language if you wish. We have currently English, Russian, and Georgian available. So you can do that. And then on the very on the home page itself, you can see the overall potential for the region by country, realized and unrealized export potential. And if you already know your exporting country, of course, and then if you already know the HS code or the product name of your product, you can already type it in, and then you can find the market right from the get-go. So let us look a little bit more in detail on the Identify Opportunities module. That's somewhere where you want to go again if you wish to explore or to see general opportunities in the regional and intra-regional trade and trade within EU. So as the page opens up, you can see it shows you data for within Eastern Area Partnership regions. So as an exporter from the region to the region for all of the sectors, you can see the overall perspective, import growth, statistics, and realized potential. And here you can see the potential by countries. And below you can see also some sector perspective, evolution of imports by sectors. You can click through, or you can click on this tree map to explore more opportunities for a specific sector that you're interested in. Let us get to another module. So in the market information module, here you will go when you already know the product and the market that you have identified in the previous module. So you can here you can select a country, select your HS code, and select your market. We will get back there in a second. Let me just get to the help center as we are already here. So again, you can see our knowledge database. There is a FAQ, inquiries. You can here, clicking on the inquiries, you can submit a specific question if you have one once you register. And the FAQ, you can see some frequently asked questions. You can type it in, for example, how to register or activate an account, and etc. Glossary for all the technical terms that you might not yet be familiar with, and the HS Finder. So you can find the code for your product by a heading or by typing in a word. For example, here we are interested in peaches. Let's see if this one works. Yes, so by typing in peaches, you can see from the tariff heading, which is edible fruit and nuts, peel, or citrus fruit or melons, which is 08. And then it breaks down into 0809 in the subheading, which is apricots, cherries, peaches, including nectarines, plums, and sloes fresh. And we will be interested in this particular code 080930, which is apricots, cherries, peaches, including nectarines, plums, and sloes fresh, peaches, including nectarines. So now we have our HS code, and we already have established. Let us actually look through it, shall we? So we will put Georgia again in identify opportunities, the very first module. If you select Georgia, and you can see by the market, Armenia, you can see the export potential by sector. As you can see in the past available year between 16 and 2020, there has been slower, how to say, decline in the import growth, but there is still a lot of unrealized potential by 2026, which is 27 million. And looking here at the tree map, you can see that there is a lot of unrealized potential in the beverages sector, in the mineral products, chemicals, fertilizers. As Anya just mentioned, the demand is growing, and there is also export potential. And here you can see also for fruits, there is 2.5 million of unrealized potential for the sector. So if you click further on the fruit from the Identify Opportunities module, you can see that the biggest square here goes to our peaches and nectarines fresh, which accounts for 55%, and it has 1.6 million unrealized export potential. So we will be interested in exploring opportunity of exporting peaches from Georgia to Armenia, since there is so much potential. So here you can see the overall perspective by sector. As I mentioned, there is a 2.5 million unrealized potential, and there is a good import growth. And now we want to look more closely in the peaches themselves. So what do? We go back to the homepage, and then we go to market information. And we can type in Georgia for our product code 080930. And we can select Armenia. And we click go, and we see all the information that we are interested in. For instance, we can see an outlook on Armenia as a global importer. You can see the total imports in the last available year. If you don't know what the information stands for, also you can click on this little question mark tooltips. So they are able to give you a bit more intel on what you're saying. So you can see the total imports in the last available year was $5.4 million US. And Armenia is number 45 in global importers of peaches in general from all the markets. And now you can see the perspective for Georgia. You can see the import share is 79%, which is a good amount. There has been a good import growth in the past years, and there is a good unrealized export potential of 3.6 million United States dollars. Again, this is for the product that we have identified, which is peaches in this case. You can see then on this graph, the import value have also been increasing, and it has decreased a little bit in the past year, but the numbers are soaring since 2016, so that is a good indication. And here below, you can see more of export potential in other countries of the region if you're interested in that. But let's get back to our peaches in Armenia. Of course, you also want to have a look at the tariffs and taxes. So here you can see that the duties applied, the tariff rate is 0. So there is an MFN duty for all WTO members of 0%. So Georgian exporters benefit of 0% tariff rate when they export peaches of this HS code to Armenia. And you can see the taxes, which are now only have collected for the EaP region, but we're planning to expand more on that. And it is currently being collected for all the other countries with the market access map team, which is also kindly helping us gathering some information such as tariffs for this portal. So then you also want to, of course, look at the regulatory requirements. And there is a bunch of different requirements here. You can find product requirements. There is 10 of them. Requirements on market conditions, pre-shipment and inspection, and WTO notifications. So these are the non-tariff measures sometimes that I have just mentioned, some that can be sometimes more burdensome to comply with in order to proceed with your exports on top of the tariffs, high tariffs. So here you can look a little bit closer on product requirements. You can see that there is 4 regulations in total for tolerance limits for residues or contamination by certain non-microbiological substances, really technical terms. So you can read a little bit more on the description and the regulation. You can see, for example, there's a list of organic, inorganic, toxic, and desirable substances used to feed production. Then you can click here to see more, to read more about the legislation. Usually they're in national languages, and so on and so forth. And you can explore further or find more details on market access map if you wish. Same for market access conditions. For example, there is a quarantine requirement, and you can read more about the regulation here. Then there are, excuse me, then there are also voluntary sustainability standards. So these are not imposed by the governments, but sometimes are good to comply with. Sometimes this could be one of the buyer requirements. So depending on the market you're going to, this would be great to consider those as well. So you can click through. There is the EU organic farming, for example. Then you can read more and find more details on the sustainability map. And also you can look at the business partners. So here on this page on EaP Trade Help Desk, you can find information of local organizations. For example, there is trade promotional organization in Georgia. Then you can find trade finance providers here, all the banks, and there is a business directory. And this directory is available on TradeMap. You can only get it if you register. By the way, all the registration is free. It is available, so do not worry, we will not charge you anything. And so clicking here, you can find more information about the potential partners of the, as I said, these will be importers of your selected products in the target market. So, excuse me, and yeah, this is, I think that is all for the quick demo example. Anya, have I covered it all? Let me know.
And yeah, maybe you could just show the companies listed in TradeMap, what you can see after you log in.
Yes, that is a good notion. So let's see if it remembers me. Does it? Yep. All right. Let's see if I remember my login. Now it should be. Yes. Anya, do you have your login and TradeMap? Could you lend me a hand here?
Yes.
Let's switch. Yes, please. Thank you so much. It forgot my login information because I had to change computers. A little bit of a technical hiccup.
No problem at all. You are looking at peaches, right? So exporting from Georgia, 080930, Armenia. Great. And I will go straight to the business partners and the business directory. And here you can see this is what the information that's available in TradeMap once you have completed your registration. So it shows that, for instance, we have the different categories here of, we have citrus fruits, we all have edible seeds, we have apricots. And for the company information that we have, which comes from Compass, we can see the name of the company. We can also see the website whenever possible. So you can get more information about who the importing companies are, how many services they, how many products they trade, and contact them directly to explore opportunities for getting in touch and exporting to them. So I think with that, I think that is the full demo, and I think Adelia would like to ask everybody to try to do a quick search themselves to see how easy to use it is, and answer 3 quick questions, and then we'll open the floor for any additional questions you may have.
Yes, thank you, Anya. Thank you so much. You are a lifesaver. So I hope you can see my screen and back again. Yes, it is there.
Adelia, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Do you want to show the EU perspective, how you would search such an EU country?
Yes, actually, that is what we planned for the quick exercise. So we wanted to, as you can see here, we wanted to give it a try and check the information exporting from Georgia to Germany, one of the EU countries, and exporting hazelnuts in this case. So I will just start sharing the presentation. All right, like this. Okay, so I will actually let the audience try to go through the portal, and then we can try together. Of course, I will go with you, but this is just to test if you have been able to kind of grasp the idea of the EaP Trade Help Desk. So I now give you a moment to go to the eap.tradehelpdesk.org on your computer or a mobile device. There is also a mobile version available. And then if you want the Georgian version, you can either click on the language tab and switch to Georgian, or you can go eap.tradehelpdesk.org/KA for the version in Georgian. And that is the information you will be looking for. So once you have entered the portal, you will be looking at exporting from Georgia. So you can select Georgia as your exporting country. Then you can type in hazelnuts or type the HS code that we have already identified for you, which will be 080222, as you can see on the share screen. And you want to look at Germany for this example. So the questions we would like you to be able to find an answer for is, you want to look at the annual export potential value estimated for Germany's imports of shelled hazelnuts from Georgia. Then you want to look at the tariff that a German importer will pay for the shelled hazelnuts from Georgia. And also you want to check in which year did Germany import the largest value of Georgian shelled hazelnuts, which accounts for $53.9 million US. As you can see here on the screen, there is also a quick poll. So you can look on the EaP Trade Help Desk, eap.tradehelpdesk.org, and answer those questions right in the quick poll in Zoom. And then we will go through the example and I will show you where you can actually find the information and what were the correct answers as well. So I will give you a minute to do that. And again, if you have any questions, Anya is very proactive in chat, as I can see. So we will answer them all. Yes, the poll is in Georgian for your convenience. Okay, we only have 4 out of 46. Okay, 5 out of 46 answers. We would like to see a couple of more. Again, you go to eap.tradehelpdesk.org. You can scroll down the screen where Anya was showing the example of how to get into more company information at TradeMap, exporting from Georgia, hazelnuts, HS code 080222 to Germany.
Somebody wrote that there is a mistake, but it is written in English. There is a mistake in the answer number 3. If you can hear me, Anna. Please.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, yeah.
We're going to double check it together and on live because it's entirely possible that we've made a typo in copying the question. So if that's the case, I apologize, but I think it's a good sign if you guys are able to catch it. So That means you guys are already ahead of the game. I think maybe one last minute for those of you who are still answering questions, and then we show you the poll results, and Adelia will go through and unveil the right answers, or what they should be.
Yes, one more minute to go.
Thank you to all of you who have participated.
All right, I think you can see the poll results in Zoom. So the majority answered, for the first question, the majority answered A, which is 11.7, which is a correct answer. So congratulations to you. Then for question number 2, we have 5 out of 12 people who answered 2.3% and 4 who answered 0. So in fact, the correct answer is 0, and I will show you why, because there is a tariff preference. And then for the question number 3, trick question, the majority answered 2016, which is the correct answer, but we will double check again if it is 2015 or 2016 altogether, and in just 1 second. So let me go back to the EaP Trade Help Desk in a second. All right. So here we are looking for export from Georgia of the hazelnuts, which are at 080222. Shelled hazelnuts to Germany. So first question was what is the annual export potential value estimated for Germany's imports of shelled hazelnuts from Georgia? So the correct answer was 11.7. So you can see it right here from the get-go in the market perspective for Georgia. You see the export potential is at $11.7 million US. The second question was, what is the tariff a German importer will pay for shelled hazelnuts from Georgia? This information you can find here in the tariffs and taxes module. And you can see there are 2 tariffs, you can see here, you can see 2 tariffs. One is the MFN duties applied to all WTO members, which is at 3.2%, but there is also a preferential tariff for Georgia of 0%. Now, what is it about? You can see here, if you scroll down, that there is a you can see the tariff agreement details. You can see that it is a preferential tariff, to qualify for which you have to obtain a proper certificate of origin, as Annie was telling you about. And this is a DCFTA signed between EU and Georgia, and as Germany is a part of the EU, Georgian exporters and German importers can benefit from it. And here you can see all the documents, the certificate of origin, chapter on the rules of origin, and you can read the full text of the agreement that again comes in the language of one of the languages of the signing parties. And again, you can check other regulatory requirements if you wish. And we go back to the overview to answer the last question. And it will be in which year did Germany import the largest value of Georgian shelled hazelnuts of $53.9 million? So yes, it was a trick question, in fact, to see if you have been paying attention and if you can navigate this chart. So in fact, it is 2015 and not 2016. And here you can see the value of imports through the years recorded. So in 2016, it was 51.2 million US dollars, and in 2015 it was the largest at 53.9 million US dollars. So good job, and good job, Gigi, for spotting this. You have been indeed paying attention. So let's get back to the presentation, and we are wrapping up, in fact, with my part. Again, to register, I'm sorry for the microphone noises. I don't know where it comes from. Do you hear me? Okay. So here again, you from the homepage in the login, it will send you to this page, and then you can register. It will send you to a website. All the information is in English, but you can translate it in the browser, so you will be able to see the information, more information on the importers, and you can ask a question in the help center. And I give the floor back to Anya to tell us more about what is coming up next in the project. And thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you, Adelia. Actually, can you click through the slides for me? Thank you. So as Konstantin mentioned at the beginning, there are several other remaining parts to this project, which will also be integrated into the portal in the coming months and year. And one of them, which I think is extremely important, and it's something that Konstantin is actively working on now, is on mapping out the trade procedures, on creating trade guides for selected sectors. So for t-shirts and vests and apparel, for dried fruit, for honey, for wooden toys and plastic articles, as well as tea. And here what you will have is a step-by-step guide of exactly where you need to go and within Georgia, and what the process is and how long it takes and how much it costs to complete each step of the trade journey. So it will give really a detailed, pragmatic guide on what you need to do and how it is, what it looks like to really complete this process. So this is extremely important for new exporters and for people who aren't aware of all of the administrative and procedural domestic processes that you need to comply with. So this is something that will be available in the coming months and is being collected as we speak. And the next slide. And then another thing that we think is actually quite interesting, especially for businesses, is we've already launched and are conducting an NTM business survey. So this is a survey of both goods and services sectors, and we will interview at least 600 companies in the goods sectors and 180 in services. In services, we'll look specifically at travel and tourism, transport and logistics, and information and communication technologies. And the idea here is to really get a sense of the feelings on the ground of what are the both the regulations, but also the procedural aspects that Georgian companies have the hardest trouble with, or the hardest time complying with. And this will also look at both EaP markets and EU markets. So we know that, for instance, meeting the requirements for meat products right now is extremely challenging for Georgian companies, but it will also provide insight, especially to policymakers in Georgia and to institutions, about what are the real challenges that companies are facing and how can we better support Georgian businesses to make that business environment easier for them and more conducive to exporting to both EaP and EU countries. So There will be, towards the end of the year, a stakeholder workshop, and then you'll be able to find results on the EaP Trade Help Desk of exactly what the results were for Georgian businesses. And you might also be contacted. So if you're contacted within the survey, you will know that this is part of this project. And the idea is to gather information and to really understand the business climate and the specific challenges that businesses are facing in Georgia. And that brings us to the end. Thank you so much for your participation. Konstantin, if you could, we would just have two last things to ask you. First of all, we want to give you the opportunity to speak about or ask any questions you may have, but also maybe Adelia, actually, you could paste in the evaluation link. So we would just ask you to do a 2-minute evaluation. It's just 3 or 4 quick questions, because we'd like to know what is useful and what is helpful, and if there's anything else that you would be interested in seeing on the EaP Trade Help Desk, or other types of information that you think would be valuable that could help you in the future. So Adelia is pasting that link in just now. It's a really quick, just digital survey. So thank you in advance. It's in Georgian as well, so hopefully it should be really quick and easy, but we would really appreciate your feedback. But with that, we would like to open the floor. I see that Ani Zarnadze was asking if technology products were also included in the EaP Trade Help Desk. If they have an HS code, then yes, they should be included as well. At the moment, services are not included in the EaP Trade Help Desk. Services will be, services data will be included shortly. We're actually working with the Central Bank of Georgia to collect information for a specific sector, and that will be soon available in the coming months. And services information will also be provided through the non-tariff measure survey for businesses. But unfortunately, the quality of the detailed information is not available in the same way as it is for goods. Does anyone have any questions? Please feel free to raise your hand. And we have, if you'd like to speak in Georgian, please go ahead. Nanuli can translate. So please don't be shy. The floor is yours. Any questions at all are welcome. Oh, I see that Tornike has raised their hand, and we have also Gigi. Maybe we start with Tornike and then go to Gigi. Tornike, you have the floor.
First and foremost, thank you very much for a very interesting presentation. And of course, this is an excellent website where we can get the necessary information. At the current stage, I have a very specific, very concrete question. It is about our business. We are a technological startup. So it is about the modern systems on which we are working currently. And we would like to convert it into the business. How it is possible to use your platform? Would it be relevant? Or maybe you can provide us with some specific the advice, because maybe, of course, we are not going to speak about the classical statistics just without statistics. So where are some niches where we can get in this platform with regard to our business?
Thank you, Tornike. And I think that's an excellent point. So one of the wonderful things about this platform is that if you're looking for information that goes beyond what's available on this platform, there is a help center where you can submit an inquiry. So if you have a specific question or are looking for specific guidance or advice or services, you can post it there. Perhaps actually, Adelia, we can do a quick demo of that as well. And then there is a whole network of government agencies behind it that will respond to you and that will get back to you, also with local resources that we may not be aware of. But perhaps we can just quickly do a demo of what that might look like. So on the EaP Trade Help Desk, I'm in Georgian. So if we go to the Help Center, we can submit an inquiry here. You can say other and put in your question or put in whatever questions or whatever guidance you're looking for here. And you put in your email and your name, and then you submit your inquiry. So Tornike, the idea is that this isn't just about statistics and this isn't just about the information for what's available, but you can also connect with a whole network behind this platform of other experts that can help you. I would also advise you, especially, I think, as a startup, I think going to virtual business fairs and connecting with other companies is really key for learning. So I would certainly advise you to explore those options, because I think that's feedback that we've gotten in the past that's been very useful. But please also feel free to write to us. We're going to share our emails and we can try to work with you individually as well, Tornike, if you can give us more information. And over to Gigi. I'm not sure actually. Gigi?
Gigi.
Sorry, my Georgian is horrible.
Gigi.
Both varieties are okay for me, because for foreigners, Gigi it's more easy to pronounce, and for Georgians it's Gigi. So both okay. No worries. So thank you again for your presentation. It's really helpful, I think, and we will use it definitely. And my question is about the other side of this portal. I mean, the companies who are interested in to import and who are interested in to just make the a trade with the Georgia. So those companies who are registered in this portal, are those companies are active? And if we will connect with them, what about the response and what about the reputation of Georgian companies which will be interested to export? So because it's all about reputation, it's all about connections and network to make this trust and afterwards and to make the agreement. So what about those companies on the other side? Thank you.
That's an excellent question, Gigi. You would say Gigi in Polish too, for the record. It's an excellent question, and I wish I could guarantee you that every single one of the companies that's listed in the potential importers will be interested in importing from Georgia, but I can't guarantee that. In the end, these come from Compass and Dun & Bradstreet, which are two huge company databases. We've heard quite a few stories of success in terms of executing business deals, but to be perfectly honest, I also think that there's so many virtual fairs now going on, and there's so many other like business to business, like matchmaking opportunities as well, that I wouldn't only rely on this information. I would also seek out, especially like virtual business fairs. I know that Connect Americas is doing an amazing job also of connecting businesses, but I mean, yeah, there's quite a few out there. There's also World Trade Center Association. I know they do business matchmaking events and have been quite successful as well. But you can really find a number of these opportunities. So I would say be very proactive, even like even reaching out on LinkedIn and finding, you know, associations. And because I agree with you that what really matters then is like your value added and what kind of proposition you can make and the network that you can bring. So I would say this is one place, one resource, but go big, as big as you can.
Okay,
I hope that's useful.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions? Anyone? Don't be shy. And sorry about the microphone noise. I'm not sure where that's coming from. Zoom is angry with us today. There was a question in the chat about digital books. I'm not sure what you mean by your digital books, Ketavan. Can you elaborate what you meant? Would you like to take the floor, Ketavan, and explain what you meant by your digital books? Maybe not. But Adelia, could you please post our email addresses in? Ketavan, I'm not sure actually what the HS code is for an electronic book, but let us get back to you on that, because that is the first time anyone has ever asked me about ebooks. But I'm sure we can find information and get back to you on that. Ketavan. Oh, exactly. Yeah, I think that information should be available, but I would need to look up the HS code to be able to show you that. But I can send you that information in an email. So thank you so much. I hope you've been able to take 2 minutes to answer the feedback questionnaire. We really appreciate if you can do that. We promise it's quick and easy. Here it is one last time in case you missed it. Oh, thank you, Adelia. But thank you so much. And honestly, in the future, Konstantin is in Tbilisi and able to answer any questions about the EaP Trade Help Desk, or please feel free to reach out to us, to me or Adelia in the future. We would be very happy to speak with you and to share any information that we can. But it's been a pleasure to be able to spend this morning with you, and wishing you a wonderful day in Tbilisi. And please don't hesitate to contact us in the future.
Thank you all very much for joining today.
Thank you very much.